today we're talking about singular, living your best life. But I'll just tell you a little bit about Funke, and then she'll tell us a little bit more about herself. So Funke is a lawyer. Adefunke Adeyemi, actually, that's her full name. She's a lawyer. She's an advocate for economic and social sustainability, and she's passionate about leadership, empowerment, and innovation. She started off writing songs and poems as a teenager, and then she went on to writing briefs as a lawyer. And she's also written numerous articles for different publications. And of course, now she's an author. She's written this book called Singular, Living Your Best Life. But also, gosh, okay, she won, or rather, she was recently honored as one of the 100 most influential people of African descent. I'm still waiting for the day to nominate me too. But congratulations. Congratulations. Really do. We celebrate you. You know, when one of our own is nominated or awarded, we should celebrate each other, especially women. Let's celebrate each other. So can we celebrate her? Well done, well done, well done. Out of all the loads of people, you're one of the 100 people. So we celebrate you. Well done for that. And we know that many more will come in Jesus' name.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Funke, tell us a little bit more. I'm sure there are things that you can tell us about yourself. Just tell us a little bit more about what you do, who you are, whatever. Just tell us.
Thank you. So thank you, my namesake. Thank you so much.
Funke, it's honest. Funke, we can't hear. You know, it keeps breaking. You keep coming in and out. We can't hear you properly at all. It just keeps coming in.
Okay,
It
so
keeps
it's
coming in
saying
and
no
out.
voice. Okay, hold on. Someone is trying to call me. It's saying no. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Mabala, thanks. I think that we can keep the ball rolling. Mabala was trying to call me. So if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up as I'm talking. And if you can't, signal so that I know what's going on. All right. So thank you so much. Like I said, you know, I was introduced to my namesake through Adeola Bali, my mentor, my friend, and a spiritual partner who has been a part of my life's journey. And she said to me after she spoke at the launch of the book on the 9th of January, she said, Funke, I've got to introduce you to a friend of mine, Funke Adiaga, who runs the cafe, the Hangout. And I think that it's important for you to carry the message of singular to the Hangout Cafe and to the people at the Hangout Cafe. So just very quickly, I think, you know, the foundation
It's gone off again. No, 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 no. Okay, but it's okay. Start again. The foundation of no, no. Okay, Funke, go on. Let's
Testing,
see if okay, go on, Funke.
testing.
Go on.
You can hear me? Okay, all
Yes.
right. So I said the foundation of the book is the foundation of me, my parents, my home life. My father was a professor of law, my mother an entrepreneur, but their value system and their outlook on life really helped me. It was from them that I learned what it meant to live your best life.
Wow. That's the challenge. But we'll get through. We will get through. Because I think it's so important to be excuse me, intentional about living your best life. Because a lot of us, we tend to live our lives in holding patterns.
Mm.
Okay,
If
go on.
All right, good. We're here. I'm just going to keep moving. It
Yeah.
looks like the network is patchy. I've tried several ones and it's the same. So I'm just going to keep moving until you can all hear me. Anyway, as I was saying, the phrase "living your best life" was not a phrase that we heard when we were growing up, but
Yeah.
the actions and the values that the home life gave me helped me to understand what it meant to live your best life. And again, what we're going through right now in terms of how this this cafe and discussion has started, it is
Yeah.
also a very important lesson that we're going to speak to during the course of the conversation about resilience, about persistence, about not giving up. So we're
Yeah.
going to carry on, irrespective, we're going to carry on talking because this is a very
Absolutely.
important message. And I think that, we need to talk about it. So a few little bits and bobs, I think that I've always been triggered by the need to impact the world around me positively in one way or another. And, you don't really know until but my journey of life sort of helped me to get to understanding some of the ways in which I could impact the world, which was
Okay.
through my voice and through my words.
Mm,
So in my day job, I'm an advocate and I go out and speak to governments and, high level officials about a particular sector and how that sector can promote the industry, economies and the lives of people. But, I also sing, so I sing, singing voice carries messages as well. And I think a voice is very powerful. But a voice isn't just, the audible voice. It's also our words. Our words are powerful, and we know, and even the Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and
yes.
they're also in the power of the word. And
Yeah.
I believe that words are really powerful. And so I've always had a lifelong love affair with words. I think that words are so, so powerful, and the way that we craft them and put them together to pass on a message or two is really
Yeah.
important. And so that's how I kind of started the journey of Singular. So let me start first with what is Singular really about. And I'm just going to hold up a copy of the book Singular for everyone to see. If you can see it, this is what it looks like. The title of the book is Singular: Living Your Best Life by yours truly, Adefunke Adeyemi. And the message of Singular, is really about the fact that no matter what our situation in life, no
Yeah.
matter what our status, no matter what our age, no matter what phase of life we're in, no
Yeah.
matter what we're doing, it is incumbent on us first and foremost to be unapologetically ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all unique individuals. Like a fingerprint. Each person has a different one.
Absolutely.
And why then should we all try to be the same when we are unique, uniquely made, fearfully, wonderfully, differently made? And so really one is to be unapologetic about ourselves and about who we are.
Right.
And the fact, and to be fair, you know, that's such an important statement, because you think, you know, you would think it's intuitive. Why wouldn't we be ourselves? But well, you know, the way that society and the world is designed, it actually is designed not to make us not be ourselves, to almost conform to certain expectations and norms and customs and religion and so on. But it's really not about that. It's about, you know, knowing who you are and being yourself. So that's the first key message of the book. The second is that we should live our best lives. People, life is short. For anyone who's had anyone close to them die on them, you know, anyone who's gone through, I mean, we've all gone through COVID the past 2 years, and we saw how devastating it was. You know, today we could do so many things, and the next day, overnight, we couldn't. You know, people were sick in hospital, their families couldn't see them. So many things went wrong. So many things just did not, you know, conform, and it was really an apocalyptic event. So with that, you know, I think anyone should understand that our lives are really our own, and it is for us to do the best with it, to live it to the best of our ability. Again, a lot of people don't do that for various reasons, but it really is important for us to realize that. So that's the second key message. The third is that, you know, we are here, all of us, each and every one of us are here on earth for a reason, for a purpose. And so it's our duty to find out and understand, what is that purpose? Why am I here? I often ask myself the question. I always have. It's one of those things that percolates in my mind. Why am I here? What is the reason? What am I supposed to be doing? You know, and it has to go beyond personal gratification. It has to go beyond personal achievements, personal acquisitions, and so on. What is that thing that you're here to do that is beyond yourself? And for me, it is that I'm here to impact the world around me positively, in the most positive way. And I've been given skills, talents, giftings, and so many things to do that. And so finding out what my skills and talents are, finding out what my giftings are that I can share with the world, has been part of my own life's journey. And I've, you know, carried on doing that. And so in a nutshell, irrespective of our relationship status, irrespective of our status in life, irrespective of our age, irrespective of what is our current situation, do what you can. Be yourself unapologetically, the person that you were created to be. Live your best life without harming others, and impact the world positively around you. So that's the key message of Singular.
Okay.
Now, I wanted to talk a bit about Singular itself, the title. And I had people ask me, and I've been on a few of these reviews and so on. And people have asked me, you know, so why Singular?
Okay.
Why Singular?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, wait, before you talk about Singular, I hope we're going to go back to break down everything that you spoke about. Being unapologetic yourself, talking about life is short, and why we're here, because it's so important. Because everything you said sounds fine, but you know, we all know that it's easier said than done. So
yes,
we need to talk about it. But so define Singular for us. Why Singular?
Okay, all right. So Singular, I wrote Singular from the lens of a never been married woman.
Okay.
Okay. But I also realized as I was writing, and since the launch, as I've been talking, that we are all singulars. Now you may wonder, you know, what does that mean? You know, I'm not single, I'm married, so I'm not single. Well, no, it's not about the status. And that's really the key message. The title here is about showing us all that our selves, our beings, our purpose for existing, and what we do to impact the world around us is not about our status. but it's rather about ourselves. Okay, so
Mm.
that's what
Yeah.
singular means.
Yeah.
And so if you look at it from that lens, it doesn't matter what your status is. So being married, you're still singular. Because guess what? You are required to be unapologetically yourself, live your best life, and impact the world around you while married.
Yep.
Now, there's so many categories of that. And it's so interesting, namesake, that you are in a couples retreat, because I'm sure that you can share some of the things that are coming out of this. You know, marriage is really not the be all and end all. And let's talk a little bit about that. But I want to just, give you the broad spectrum of singularity. So
Okay.
empty nesters are singulars. Many of the people on this call probably have children who have gone off to school or have started working and they've gone off out into the world. And many of them have done a wonderful thing, raising their children to the best of their ability with a singular focus on ensuring that they become, well-balanced human beings and going out into the world. But then now what? Okay, so they've done that. It's possible that some of us have put our dreams on hold because we were raising our children. But it's our dream. And like I said, because we're all here for a reason, God puts dreams in each and every one of us. And
Absolutely.
dreams are meant to be actualized. And so if you're in that category, and perhaps you put your dream on hold at some point in order to support your family,
Yeah.
okay, well, now is the time to get back to it. So you're a singular and you have that flexibility. Someone who is bereaved, like they've lost their spouse, their life partner,
Yeah.
is a singular. Okay? Because now you don't have that particular relationship anymore. You probably may have others, but you don't have that other relationship. So what's next? What's next for you? Are you going to go back to all of those key areas? And so on. There's so many people in that whole marriage conversation. And I know that, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I know that in the church, we kind of churchify everything. It's like, marriage or this and nothing in between. But I'll tell you what, a lot of people in marriage, in Christendom are going through a lot. And
Yeah,
they
I don't
find it.
think, I know you said you were going to be controversial. I'm actually not sure if it's the church. I just think it's society that has to think about
No.
marriage. You
Yeah,
have
you're
to be
right. You're
married.
right.
It's society. And of course, because, church environment, it's a sifting. But I think really it's just society and the culture. It's gone off now. Wow. I mean, so, the internet is sorting, once the
I think we're
internet is
back.
sorting itself out, what do you guys
Nope.
think about what Funke just said? That it's the church. What do you guys think? Put the comments in the box, and let's hear what you guys have to say. Like I said to her, I think it's society, but again, marriage is a good thing. It's ordained by God. But yeah, Funke, can you hear me now? I think we're still having the internet issues. So yes, what do you guys think about this? Where everybody feels that if you're not married, or most people feel that if you're not married, then you haven't achieved you haven't achieved anything, which is, yeah, it's society too. Yeah, I think a lot of I don't know whether the pressure is more from society or family or the church. It's just gone off again. The society and culture in a way found its way into the church. Yeah, I actually agree with you, Janelle. I actually agree with you. I think it's um, the society. Yeah, it's found its way. Absolutely. A lot of it, I think, comes from the society, family. Hi, Funke, you're back.
Yes, I am. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Okay, so I actually could hear you, and I could see some of the comments,
Yeah.
and I could also understand. I could hear some of the questions that were being asked. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not excluding society when I mentioned the church. I brought it in just because I know that this is a spiritual environment with many people, you know, who are in church and members of churches and are steeped in it. And so I brought it in as an aspect of what I'm talking about. But I just want to read something from page 10 of the book. I think that will speak to what I'm saying. And I think someone made a very, very important point here that, you know, it's, you know, the society and church, you know, you can't, church is part of society, and society is part, you know, the people in church are in society. So it's a combination of things. But
true.
Exactly. But let me read this for you so that you can maybe clarify what I was speaking to. And I'll also give you a bit of my own experience as well, because this is quite a personal book. You know, I put my own experience as a woman who had not been married for many, many years. If you say marriageable ages, let's say 21, you know, and I'm, you know, just shy of 50. And yeah, it is what it is, right? So let me read page 10, and here goes. Many people are often in psychological conflict between individuality and societal expectations.
Right.
And therefore, due to not knowing any better, or sometimes out of the audacity of thinking that they do, many tout these norms and expectations as the one single version of the truth. Oftentimes, we are judged by them, driving many to sacrifice the happiness they can attain as unique individuals first in their own right for the rules of society that do not really matter in the grand scheme of things, and that many do not even sincerely follow themselves. This is what I have come to learn. This is my own experience. All right. And I've seen it all around me. So this is what I say. This is part of the book. Flout their tout. A wise person once said, don't base your decisions on the advice of those who don't have to deal with your issues. The fact that you have remained single for a long time, especially if you're a woman, is often viewed as some kind of stigma in many parts of the world, even in the so-called liberal parts of the world. But I'm here to tell you that regardless of what your relationship status is, regardless of any status you are in, you are in an enviable position because you have the opportunity to write a new script for yourself, to create a beautiful, wonderful, and fulfilling life. And so, no, don't keep your head down. Part of what is in the pages before is what people told me. Keep your head down. Don't be, don't, do that. And this is part of what society and by extension church tells you, because it is all in a quest for marriage. And I'm going to say something else controversial, but let me finish reading page 10. So don't keep your head down. That is the last thing that you should do. Anyone, man, woman, doesn't matter. And do not compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is all about. And that's what a quote from Woody Hayes. And so be yourself. Do not let anyone put you down or make you feel less simply because you're single. You owe it to yourself not to feel unworthy, inadequate, or incomplete, or to compare your life with others. This one is on you, meaning every one of us. We have the power. So that's really the issue here. And again, I'm So I'm going to extend, just read a little bit more and get some feedback from the listeners. So I continue reading. Going by the high divorce and separation rates in our society, even in the church and across the world, a lot of people in marriages and relationships are unhappy or are not enjoying their time and lives, or are still searching for something. Most will not talk about this. They say nothing about their challenges because they are they either cannot shake off society's expectations and dictates of what makes for a good life, or what it is that we're supposed to be doing, or what it is we're supposed to have become at certain stages, or they don't want to be criticized. So this is the issue. This is the issue at hand, and it's a serious issue that we have to contend with in society today.
Okay, Funke,
Yeah.
I agree with you. In fact, this is right up. That's exactly what we're talking about. Before I came on Hangout Cafe, that's what PI was talking about. The person leading the session was talking about that. Well, I think I said earlier on, where we're trying to make when we get married, especially, well, mostly I think, or mainly women, where this is the one that's going to complete me. This is the one that's going to fulfill, me. And it's because of everything society says, when you get married, then everybody calls you madam, everybody calls you, they respect you more, which is completely wrong. So I agree with everything that you said. But I want our listeners to ask some questions, because they might have one or two questions for you. And one of the things I also said earlier on is that for a lot of single people, at least some of them that I know, we live our lives in holding patterns, waiting for when I get married. That's when some people might even say, I won't buy a house. I won't invest until I get married. Because society says, or the parents will say, if you buy that house, then what will your husband buy for you? If you buy the car, if you have all this high-flying job, so you won't find a husband because your husband wants someone who is around. So society just says all sort of rubbish, really. But some people, they fall into that category of holding their lives in pattern, just waiting for marriage, to marry that mister. And then they marry the mister and they're not happy, because they're not satisfied. They haven't fulfilled their purpose, what God actually has called them to do. I'm not saying, one of the things our pastor said now is that, first of all, God will be your number one, your priority. And then together, you and your spouse will fulfill purpose together, whatever God has said. But then you also have your own thing that God has called you to do. But we're just, oh my goodness. Funke, your thing has gone off again. So I guess the message, if I understand you well, is that we should live our best life. Stop especially if you're a single person, even a married person. Sometimes, you're just trying to fit into, I remember what he said. Some people think that it's a woman's place to cook. Meanwhile, your husband might be someone who enjoys cooking. I personally don't enjoy cooking. I used to do it when the kids were younger, but now I really don't. And unfortunately, they're old enough, so everybody just cooks for themselves. But yeah, let's stop trying to fit into what society wants from us. It's the husband that cooks, it's the wife that cooks, or it's the... Okay, yeah, you're back. Fantastic.
So, yep, I moved again. Whatever it takes.
Oh my goodness. We will get through this. Also, yes. There's a question. In light of this conversation, how do you fulfill the mandate to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth?
Okay, it's a great question. And I think that the question stems from the idea that perhaps the conversation is limiting us to the idea that, there's anything wrong with the institution of marriage. Not at all. It is an institution that I believe... No. Let me just finish the thought. It's a wonderful institution. I think that it's designed to help people, become the best versions of themselves, as well, to really complement each other and to help each other grow, shared vision, common values, and so on. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to do that. And I think to answer the question, the answer, that comes to mind is that we are all meant to fulfill that mandate, to be fruitful, to multiply, and to replenish and subdue the earth. And we do that best when we're the best versions of ourselves. And that's why the book is, is structured in a way that the first 6 chapters of the book really focus on self. on how we can become the best versions of myself. And again, this is, from my own personal experience, the things that I've learned along the way, because there's no manual for how to live this life, really, right? Nobody told us as we were getting out at 18, say, take this book, and this is all you need to know to win this game called life. No, it's not that. You learn it yourself, and you learn from experience. And so the book is structured in such a way that it focuses first on what I felt, what I learned, and what I felt was important for us to be able to become this best version of ourselves, so that we can go into any relationship, enhanced, and to enhance that relationship even more. And so it starts with, the introduction, which is being unapologetically you. And then it talks about singledom and some of the experiences that we've talked about already on this call, some of the things we've heard. You said it's namesake that, people say, oh, don't buy that house. If you buy the house, what will your husband buy for you? Don't buy that car. I had, people tell me all kinds of things like that. Don't buy this particular car. And this friend of mine knew that I really liked a particular brand of car to be open, Mercedes. I've always loved it, and I love them. And it was like, oh no, don't buy that one. If you buy that, what are the guys supposed to say? I'm thinking, what does that have to do with anything, like with the price of beans? So, but anyway, so we could talk about singledom. They talk about it in the context of career as well. Or, you're flying too high, you're going to be intimidating people.
Yeah.
And there's a friend of mine who I was telling recently that, that word intimidation was such a trigger for me, because in the end, for me, I was just like, anyone who is looking at me and seeing intimidation, it's like a natural process of elimination. Already you're not getting it. So thank you very much, but keep it moving. So, you have to, that's what you're here for. You're supposed to, to expand, live life and life abundantly. It's not just in one aspect. Life is multidimensional.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the sequel to this book. I'm going to write about plurality, because singular is supposed to help us to get to that objective. The end, you start with the end in mind. So we're starting with ourselves first, so that we can become, better plurals, right? Ultimately, that's what it's about, because man was not made to be alone, man and woman. Yeah. And so we have, singledom, then we have the rules of engagement. So these are some of the things I learned as well. Like, how do you navigate this thing called life? And there's certain things that we need to understand. Things like creating boundaries, things like being decisive about how we deal with unwanted behavior, whether in or out of a relationship, and also, how we use our time. So these are very important things. They're really important for us to know, because they will guide us.
Sorry to interrupt you. Someone's just asked, is the book mainly for single people? She said no. She said
no, it's not. So the book is for everyone. It's basically like a manual for everyone, no matter what stage, no matter what status it is. And that's why I wanted to get that issue of singular, like it's not just for single people, even though it was written from that lens, but it is such a wide-ranging book because it covers so many aspects of life. Other things, living life to the fullest, everyone, it's a mandate for the whole world. Exactly, should aspire to
and
that.
Dream.
Exactly. So having dreams as well, setting clear goals. These are some of the things that, for every individual. It's not even just for us young adults as well, starting out their lives. I talked about empty nesters earlier. Even for the young children, the young adults, as they're going out into the world, some of the things that they need to know. We talk about money, financial independence is really important, because money helps us to resolve a lot of life's problems and to make our lives easier and more pleasurable. And so, money is important, and having money, no matter where you are in your life and what status you're in, is also important. But again, we have a lot of strictures around this from society. Oh, don't, so many things, so many silly, unnecessary things that come out of it. And as you said, these things, these rules are, a lot of it is common sense, a lot of it is scriptural, a lot of it is things that we already know or might have forgotten, or that just hasn't been brought to light. And so they're very important. And then we talk about, how we're all the same. This idea of compatibility, this idea of empathy, this idea of commonality across the sexes, you know, rather than looking at things from an adversarial point of view. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. No, we're not. We're all from Earth. So let's just deal with that first. You know, we're all the same. Fundamentally, yes, we have
Fundamentally,
physiological, yeah, we have physiological differences, but we all feel the same emotions and we all deal with the same issues. And so when we start to think about things like that, then it helps us to, you know, have more empathy, to put ourselves in other people's shoes, and to reduce some of the friction that, you know, we find in society today, you know, in this game of life. And then we talk about love. You know, love is really the foundation for everything, and the foundation for relationships, and the foundation for our being. We talk about intimacy, how important it is, you know, in relationships, and commitment, the role of commitment in relationships. You know, it's one thing. Yeah, it's one thing to want to have a relationship, but if there's no commitment in that relationship, then, you know, any wind that blows is going to move you, is going to affect you and impact you. And so the question is, does it blow down your house, or does your house continue to stand on a solid rock and foundation that you've built it on, and so on. So yeah, that's really how the book is structured. And so it's not just for single people, it's for everyone. And just to share a story with you, a friend of mine bought the book and bought copies of the book and gave to his 79-year-old mother. And he sent me a message the day after I gave him the book. He gave her that day. And he sent me a message saying she's almost finished the book and she is so excited. She told me, I'm going to pick up my life again. That's the best thing I've ever heard at 79. So what excuse do we have, right? You know, really and truly, what is it? So my mom, you know, she said to me, when she first read the book, she said, you know, like the typical mother. She said, whoa, Phil, are you really going to put this out there? Like, is this what you want to say? But she got it, and because she knows me, I'm a product of her. She understood. And she said, wow, you know, she would just look at me and laugh for like the first 2 weeks she read it, because she's the first person who read the manuscript. And she would laugh and she'd just say, wow, this girl. But then she got it and she said, just go with it. Just run with it. And she herself, you know, I kept telling her, I said, Mommy, you have so much in you, you know, just put all of this down, write. And she started just like that, you know, in between her prayers, she's just started writing things down and all that. And she told me the other day, Adefunke, I've started writing. So it's for everyone. The young people, so many young people, friends of mine have bought and given to their children. And I'm getting messages back, Auntie, I really love this book. Thank you so much. It's helping me to understand some things that I've been struggling with in my mind. A lot of contemporaries of mine have said it's so relatable. I can really relate. I understand. I've gone through this, you know, so many experiences. And this is people from all walks of life, from all stations of life, married, single, divorced, you know, widowed, name it. It's all there. So it's a book for everyone.
Do you know, I think I really wish we could all get to read this, or anything that will help us become more. Because like you said, we have so many gifts and talents, but we're not using them. We have become we've settled. That's the word I'll use. We've settled. You know, we love our comfort zone. But that's not what you were created for, to settle in your comfort zone. And I think every single one of us should get the book and read it and take the actions. In fact, that reminds me, a friend of mine, she did a live thing a couple of days ago. And she was saying that, you know, we get a lot of information. In fact, she was just talking about church. Every Sunday we go to church. We listen to all these messages. What are you doing with all the messages you've heard? Every Sunday we go and get more. We go and get more. And it's the same thing. You know, we have so many things, gifts, talents. You read books. This is another book. But please, when you read this book, take action. Don't just read it and then settle. Read it and move. And I believe that's what the book is going to get us to do when we finish reading it. If your mother could say that she's now started writing, and the 79-year-old woman has said, you know, she's going to take her life back, then we have to do something. I would love to hear feedback after reading the book. I want you to send a message to Funke to say that, you know, I read your book and this is what I'm doing now. you know, I've written out my goals, and I'm, by God's grace, I'm going to achieve the goals. So please, guys, you need to get the book. You need to get the book, because it sounds like it's something that every one of us need. We all need to do. So sorry, Funke, I interrupted you. I'm so sorry, but I want us to talk about purpose. You mentioned that. Actually, what was the first thing you said? It was, the first book is Living Life Unapologetically, right?
Yes.
How do you live your life unapologetically?
Okay, so
So give us practical examples.
exactly. So first of all, again, I'll go back to the foundation, and I think it really helps a lot that I had a foundation that allowed me to express myself and to be myself, and to pursue my own interests, the things that I enjoyed doing. So I'm going to share something weird, just sort of random here. I have a black belt in Taekwondo. And I got, I did that in school. Don't worry, no problem. Everyone is safe. But yeah, I did it in secondary school, and I tell you that it was so interesting because, my, how it is, like you start secondary school, and then they bring all these games and all these after school activities, and you try the ones that you like, and there's so many that you try. But Taekwondo, I really enjoyed it, and I kept on doing it. And I remember at a point, my mom said, Funke, are you going to continue with this? My mom is a real lady, and I was a tomboy. And she, I would play football and run around with the boys and climb trees and all that. And she didn't really like it, but she allowed me to do the things that I wanted to do. So from a very young age, I've been able to express myself in the way that works very well with me. But again, having said that, I haven't always made the best choices either. So I've made a few mistakes, and a mistake is something that you feel like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. It's not necessarily about what the world thinks. It's so I've taken down. I've done a few things. I thought, okay, if maybe I thought about it some more, or if I'd known better, I wouldn't have done. And so some of these, being unapologetically yourself, is really to come back to yourself. Like, okay, who am I? What are the things that I know? And one practical way of doing that is to think about your teenage self. So what were the things that excited you as a young person? What were the things that you loved to do? What were the things that, really resonated with you? Go back to that person, and you will find that invariably, that is something that is part of your core. And that's something that you should go back to doing. And one of the ways that I did that, it wasn't easy. It wasn't always easy. But one of the ways I did that was I started to affirm positively the things that I was, and the things that I felt that I was, and the things that I wanted to become. And so I started to do these affirmations over some years, and I would just affirm, and in the book, I write it there, I say things like, I am blessed. I am simply awesome. I am unique. There's no one like me. I am talented. The world has never seen anything like me. I am loved. I am full of good cheer. And with all of those things, it empowered me on the inside to be unapologetically myself. And so people, I know who I am, and people know who I like to dance, I like to sing. The people who know me know that it is part of Funke. When our common friend, Adiola Bali, when she was doing the launch, she described me in a way I'd never heard her describing me. She said, I described Funke with one word: bullets. She used to call me bullets for a long time, and I didn't know why. I thought it was because of my running, because we'd see each other when she was doing her exercise. She would see me. I thought it was that. But she said a bullet, and the definition of a bullet is something that is small, aerodynamic, fast, and hits its mark. She said, but it's also something that is targeted, is purposeful, and so on. And so I had become known to be doing the things that I wanted to do. So I pursued my own goals. I felt, the thing that resonates with you, it's all about you, don't forget. So what is it that resonates with you? Not necessarily about the one, just go forth and do it. So that's one practical example about being unapologetically yourself, And it's really, I know it can be hard to do, especially when you're in your comfort zone. And I saw a comment from someone there who mentioned that how do you get out of your comfort zones? And I know it can be really tough,
Yeah.
especially when you're already in a rut. But again, it's first of all asking for the grace of God, because it's not by our power or might, but it's by the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
He's asking for His grace and His help. The grace of God is the help of God. So it's asking for His help. That God, I realize now I've come back to myself. I am now aware. I know what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Help me to do this.
Yeah.
But it's also putting action behind our faith in God's grace. So we've got to do it and get up and do it. So it's not just about wishing it to happen. We've got to then start thinking about things to do. And that's part of what is in the book as well. So set clear goals. You have your dreams. Dream awake. Dream while, I've always dreamt. I'm a dreamer. My eyes are, I dream with my eyes open. I am one of those people who actually, I see it all. I see it. So when you're seeing it and you see it over and over, you've got to actualize it. Otherwise, it's just a wish. A dream without goals and without action is wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So, you just got to bring it to pass.
Yeah.
Just do it and just do it. Just do it. It's not always easy, but just do it, and God will back you up if you ask for His help.
Yeah, it's just taking that first step.
Exactly.
And you'll be amazed at the doors that open once you take that first step. Really.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow. Thank you so much. Okay. You also talked about life being short. Can you expatiate on that? Life is short. We know life is short, but just give us practical examples again on what to do.
Okay. So so living your life to the fullest. For me, so personally, one of my all-time favorite things to do is to travel. It's not just to, I travel for work, right? So that's separate. But it's to travel because, it helps you to understand that, number one, you are a speck in the universe. And number two, you are a part of something bigger than you. Yeah. Number three, you can see and learn from other people. Yeah. And, it opens and broadens your mind. Yeah. So it's very important. So traveling is one of the things that I really recommend. And it doesn't have to be too expensive. Yes, I know, flying and all of that is deemed to be quite expensive and all that. But it depends on where you are. Yeah. Within Europe, you can travel for relatively cheaply. And there's so much to see. A lot of people, do the same things over and over and over again. Just don't, try and expand your horizons a little bit. But even if you don't get on a plane, just drive around, look around you. What is there to see? If you are in a coastal area, go to the beach. If you are in, places where you have hills and mountains and so on, just go into nature. Just understand that there's a little more, to do than, the routine. And that's what I mean by life is short. So the majority of the world, where about 8 billion people, and this is not a generalization. Majority of the world are in a rut, stuck in this cycle of wake up, work, go to sleep, wake up, work, go to sleep. And I understand, this is reality. A lot of people, you have to pay bills, you have to eat, you have to feed your family. That is all well and good. But you've got to be able to do things that give life to your passions and your interests. And in the book, there's a chapter in there where I describe something that, that I learned when I was in Singapore. A company in the Far East, a startup company, they were doing very well. Everything was going well. Their product was really selling. And years in, something happened. There was a slump. And the management of the company brought in like a consultant to come and see what's going on. And the consultant did like a forensic audit or a diagnostic and said, look, we've checked everything. Your organization is very solid. Your processes are solid. Right. Your product is solid. That's not the problem. The problem is your people. They are burnt out, because they are so used to, and again, the culture of that environment and that country is people work. And so they are used to working to the exclusion of other things. And so they come up with, let's shut down the server. Let's shut down our servers so emails don't come in, all right? Or, whatever the internal means of communication. Between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. every weekday,
Right.
And I tell you what, when this thing happened, there was a huge panic in the organization. Oh my God, we've been hacked. Something's happened to us. This and that and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And the management said, no, 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 nothing's happened. This is deliberate. And so these guys didn't know what to do with themselves for the first few months. And then guess what? They
Well,
went back to life. They went back to their interests. They went back to spending time with their families. They went back to, hanging out with friends. The musicians amongst them started playing their instruments again. The guys who did outdoor adventure and hiking and diving, and they started doing that again. Guess what happened? Within 3 months, the company's productivity increased by 30%. So it's all part of, realizing that, yes, we've got to do what is important. We have obligations, try to meet them. But while you're doing that, also pursue your passions and your interests.
I think even the pandemic taught us that.
Yep,
Pandemic, a
absolutely.
lot of people rediscovered their passions and started doing other stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
One thing two things came to mind when you were talking. I just thought, I think we need to ask ourselves this question: what are we afraid of? So let's look in the mirror. It might be a difficult task for some people, but look in the mirror and say, what am I afraid of? Why am I not moving forward? Why am I not taking that necessary step? Let's do that. Second thing, which relates to the first point about living your life unapologetically. I remember Miles Monroe saying that the graveyard is the richest place. And it's the richest place because people died with their talents and gifts buried instead of using it to bless the world. So we don't want that to be our portion, as we'll say. Let's use our gift whilst we're still alive. Let's use our gift and talents whilst we're still alive.
Exactly. And that's exactly the real salient point. Yeah. Right. Do it now. This is the time. Do it now while you have the chance. Do it while you can. Yeah. And it's not about how long, we live. It's about how well. And, I remember my brother passed away a few years ago. And I remember at the funeral service, the pastor, he said, we should always live with our end in mind.
Yes.
And I know that that's such a hard thing to hear, but it's also a hard thing to do because we're so, kind of conditioned to be so superstitious. It's all about this and that. So if you're living with the end in mind, then you understand that, wow, I've just got to do it. I've got to use my time to do what I need to do to be happy, to be full of joy, and to impact the world around me, to pursue my passions, to live my best life. It's really important that we understand that.
Absolutely. Great. And so you said we're here on this earth for a reason. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, why am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. So can you explain that?
Okay, yeah. So, this is a very interesting one. And again, I know that, there's a lot of people here on the call and, from different backgrounds who talk a lot, who have heard a lot about purpose and about what it is that we're here to do. And, the thing is, I used to struggle with that question, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And I always thought that it would be just one big thing that's written in the sky for me, that your purpose is X. But, it didn't come like that. It came from my own journey, journeying through life and understanding that using my unique self, my talents, my giftings, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I've come to realize that, part of my purpose, beyond impacting the world positively, is bringing the kingdom into the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's really living the kingdom. That's what it is. And I'm not being churchish about this at all. I'm being very, very practical.
Yeah.
And I go back to, I'm one of those people who, when I look at the life of Jesus, I see a lot of practicality in him.
Very practical guy.
Very practical man.
Yeah.
He dealt with the fundamental things. He dealt with the issues of life.
Yeah.
He dealt with so many things in all the stories, the parables, forgiveness, finding peace, you know, how to navigate life, the practical things that we need. But we over spiritualize this whole, you know, thing, because at the end of the day, we have to live this life anyway, and we deal with so much, right? So how do you deal with the issues of life? So, you know, finding your purpose is just really taking the totality of yourself and the things that you're good at, the things that God has given you those talents for, and translating it in your own words in a way that matters. And you'll find that there is a linkage between all three.
Okay.
That is what creates your purpose. So for me, I know what it is. I'm bringing it to the marketplace. This book is a book for all environments, whether it is religious or secular. It's a book for all environments because it's practical. It's speaking to everyone. No matter how far down, you know, or far deep you are in your relationship with God and so on, it's still relevant and it's still life. So it's that. And I'm going to say something. I didn't know that this was the first message that I had in me in terms of a book. I knew I was going to write stuff, but I thought it would be more academic. I thought it would be more along the lines of, you know, what I do and what I'm used to and so on. I didn't know that this was the first message, but you know, especially since the launch of the book, I've realized how important this message is, because it's all about impact. Because when we're better versions of ourselves, you know, the best version of ourselves is an aspiration. So we're striving towards that. But as we become better versions of ourselves, we become better individuals. We become better citizens. We become better wives. We become better mothers. We become better husbands. We become better staff, colleagues, employees. We become better stewards. We become better wards. We become better pastors, guardians. You name it. You become better.
I agree.
By making yourself better. So, you know, that's really about it. And so just, you know, for those who are still looking for what is your purpose, it's just looking at who am I? What has God given me that I have? What can I do with it? How do I translate that? What is the thing that excites me the most about that process and about some of the things I may have done before, I'm not doing now, and what can I do going forward? And you'll find your purpose in there.
Great. Thank you so much. Wow, we've done almost an hour and a bit. So what would be your final message to those who have joined us and those who will watch later?
Okay, so just to recap, you know, message of singular is irrespective of your status, your stage, your age, your phase of life, you know, be unapologetically yourself, live your best life, use your talents and your giftings to impact the world positively around you. But again, what's the objective of all of this? What is the end? It is that we can become better versions of ourselves so that we can interact better with the world around us and have meaningful relationships and connections that matter. Like I said at some point, you know, human beings are not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to be on our own. We're meant to connect. And so the end is that once we know all of these things that are here, that many people already know, but it's just, you know, put in a simple, relatable way, that, you know, it helps us to get to where we need to get to understand how, you know, we can connect better with the world around us, whether it's family, friends, you know, a romantic relationship, you know, working with colleagues and so on. And again, I just want to remind us about, you know, something I'd mentioned earlier about the rules of engagement. Let's not forget that there are rules of engagement to live in this life. Boundaries, creating boundaries, understanding that toxicity and things that are harmful, that are not helpful to us, things that are not helping us to fulfill our dreams and aspirations, that are not encouraging us and supporting or championing us to reach the heights that we can, to fulfill our goals, you know, they're not necessary. So, you know, if you have that in your life, find a way of cutting it off. And if it's hard to cut it off, you know, find a way in your mind and in your heart to say, okay, I'm aware of what this thing is, and I'm going to, you know, just distance myself from it. Even if you can't physically distance yourself, but mentally, emotionally, you can create distance and find peace from it. So boundaries are very important because that helps us to find our peace. And ultimately, this message, the message of the book is for impact. I hope it has impacted you. I know that it will impact you when you read it. It's very simple. It's an easy read. It has it's full of nuggets of wisdom from other people. So it's not just my voice you're going to be hearing, but also understanding that, you know, plurality is important, and plurality is living a multi-dimensional life. And that's a hint for the sequel to Singular. So that's going to be the title, and that's going to be what it's all about. We're going to look at all the dimensions of life and how we can be the best at it. And most importantly, please, you know, get copies of the book.
Yes. So
I
where
think,
can people
yeah,
get the
go ahead.
book from? Where can they
Okay,
get the
so
book?
right. Okay, so first and foremost, the book is on Amazon, so anyone can, you know, just order it. Just type in Singular Adefunke Adeyemi and you can order it. UK, US, Spain, wherever you are. I said people have joined us from all over the world. And you can download the book, and it's you know, it's affordable, so you can do that. You get a print and demand copy. This is what it looks like. So this is what you get. It's the sort of soft paperback version of the book, still nice and beautiful. Now for the hard limited edition hardcover version of the book, which I printed for the launch of the book in January, you can get them at Roving Heights bookstore. I think
That's for those in Nigeria.
for those in Nigeria, yes,
Okay.
you can get at Roving Heights bookstore, at Tiffany Amber NG store. On so Roving Heights is at the Landmark Center on Oniru. Tiffany Amber is on 15 Gerard Road. You can get from Luxuria NG. It's on 7 to 12 Rumans Road. You can get from the Jazz Hall. There are limited copies there. We're hoping to be in Terra Culture and Latana bookstores very soon. And also you can get from the Page bookstore in Ikeja. Now, for those in the UK, my namesake has kindly offered to stock some copies of the book. They should be with her from June onwards. So you can get a limited edition autographed copy of the book from her. But for those who don't want to wait, I'm hoping that many of you are in that category. Just go to Amazon and order.
And order the book. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. You know, what I'm taking away from this is that if I'm living my best life, I won't be that grumpy, frustrated mother, friend. No, because it's true. Because if you're living other people's life instead of living your best life, you'll be frustrated. So I'm not going to be that grumpy, frustrated mother, friend, wife, whatever, grandmother to be. So please get the book and let's all learn how to live our best life.
Yes. So someone just asked about the price for the UK. It's $9.99.
$9.99. Okay.
Yes. And for those in the anywhere else, I think, you know, USD denominated, I think it's $12 or $13 or something like that.
How much is it in Nigeria?
The limited edition version is 10,000 naira, but it's going, there's a promo on at the moment at Roving Heights for 7,500.
Okay. All right. That's great. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today, Funke. It's been a pleasure having you
Thank
hang
you
out with
so
us.
much for having me. Thank you. I put my Instagram